Hi, and welcome to Astrology and Earth Magic. I'm Jen, and I'm here with a little bit of witchy wisdom for our Sebbat of Beltane. Beltane is our fourth Sebbat in our Wheel of the Year. It's a greater or cross-quarter Sebbat, meaning it comes between an equinox and a solstice. This one in particular becomes between the vernal equinox and the summer solstice. And we celebrate this on May 1st, and it's also known as May Day. So what makes this Beltane a little bit more magical this year is that on the same day we have our full flower moon, and that is in the sign of Scorpio, and it just really deepens the potential of Beltane. Now this is our second cross-quarter Sebbat, actually this year, with a full that is happening during a full moon. The first, of course, was our first cross-quarter Sebbat of Imbolc, and that was with the full moon that was in the sign of Leo. And that Leo full moon really just brought back the sun. That's what all of Imbolc was about, is that reemergence of the sun and the start of spring. And so again, very fitting, just like a Scorpio full moon, we had that Leo full moon for the Sebbat of Imbolc. Now, Scorpio is known for its passion, its desire, and its sexuality. And it's also a sign of transformation and rebirth. Just a perfect moon to correspond with the symbols and celebrations of Beltane. The Wheel of the Year is like the cycles of the moon, and each Sebbat corresponds with a different phase. So we're starting out with the new moon, that is Yule. Imbolc is the waxing crescent, Ostara is our first quarter, and now we have Beltane, which is our waxing gibbous. Next will be the full moon. So the fruits of our labor are really starting to take root, and things are starting to spring forth. Our gardens are planted, our flowers are starting to bloom, there's buds on the trees, and they're just opening up into leaves. The summer is coming. So this is kind of like the start of summer. That's what this Sebbat is all about. It's starting summer, and with our full flower moon, it's perfectly fitting because we do have all the flowers starting to bloom. The full moon will light up the night sky just as the bonfires of that sacred fire festival light up the earth below. So fire is an essential part of our Beltane celebrations. It's cleansing, it wards off evil, it has that renewable energy and ignites passion. So livestock back in the day were led through 2 bonfires, and that was on their way from the barn to the pasture. And this was said to cleanse off any bugs or parasites that got on them throughout the winter. It also blesses them with health, fertility, and it brings an abundance of milk, as well as protecting them from disease. And they say that butter made during this time of year is the best. So give it a try. It's the most creamy, the most delicious. And couples used to jump over the flames, and that was said to bless their union. The smoke would bless their union and encourage fertility. So this time of year is all about bringing new life, that creative force and that unity of man and woman getting together to bring forth new life. Now, Beltane's place as the waxing gibbous phase implies a time of coming together. This is a melding of energies in order to create. In its rawest form, humans as well as animals are procreating in order to bear offspring, preserving the species and continuing, generation after generation to flourish long after we're gone. It's kind of the ultimate in teamwork, right? So this is why the sexual symbolism of Beltane is so strong. You know, even take the maypole, for instance, which is a huge part of Beltane. For example, it's a rod thrust into the earth as young maidens dance about, weaving their ribbons, kind of like weaving their spells of love and lust. Groups gather together to watch the fun and revel in the excitement, and the sexual energy is high. So the maypole also represents the world tree, or I guess you could call it the tree of life, and it connects the heavens to the earth and then to the underworld, as does the full moon in the sky, Scorpio representing the underworld, the sign representing the underworld, and then our bonfires here on earth. So it's really as above and so below. So during this time, the veil between these worlds is the thinnest. So between these two worlds, the veil is at its thinnest. It's like the opposite Sebbat of Samhain, when we connect with those who have gone before us, so those who have passed and lived and now are gone. But with Beltane, we can connect with another realm, the realm of the Fae. To me, the woods just feel alive, like you're not alone when you're here. Are there places at times that you hear music, soft voices that seem to come from nowhere? When you see something from the corner of your eye and you turn to look and it's gone? That's the feelings that I get when I'm out here. So you can leave your offerings in these places. Anything looks like maybe a little hiding place, or something that just feels like it's full of life, an area that just draws you and just feels full of life. But you also want to remember, like the plants above, some in the fairy world are benefic and some are malefic. So either way, they are filled with curiosity and mischief. So you want to keep that in mind when you're giving your offerings and leaving things out for them. And always use all natural materials. Oops. So here's an example of, if you're into foraging, but things popping up this time of year during Beltane, this is where you'll find, this is what you call a fiddlehead. If you take these off, fry them up, salt, some oil, they're delicious. And if you don't take them off, they're gonna grow into ferns. So we have a bunch of little fiddleheads here. You see them just starting to pop up. We have a lot of skunk cabbage around. Skunk cabbage is a great use for protection, but if you can stand the smell. So a lot of times it's not used in the home as protection, but maybe outside. So if you're leaving offerings in the woods like I do, in places that just seem like they just have that energy of the Fae, you want to use natural things. So offerings can be saucers of milk, they can be maybe some honey, shiny little objects. And I like to use natural vessels. So I have these little eggshells here, and we are going to just put a little bit of milk in there and leave our offering. And we're going to leave a few of these around for just to show the Fae that we're here and we acknowledge them. This just looks like a little bird's nest. So we're going to just put a little offering here as well, right there. It's not a bird's nest, it's just it's growing off a tree. But just seems like, we dumped. Let's try this again. There. There's our little offering. It's adorable. It's so quiet. All you hear is the birds. Who's that little creature over there? So while we're out here, we thought it would be a great time to gather some water for our Beltane spells. Now, I'm getting this flowing river water because this is going to be for more active spells. If it's for calm or peace, you're going to want to get water from like a still lake or something to that effect. But we want a little more active. This can also be used to water your plants, to do simmer pots, or any kind of spells or anything that you just want to bring a little extra life to with this rushing water. Well, it's not really rushing, so it's a little bit slow. If it was really rushing, then you want the spells to act a little faster. But this one's just going to be a little more calm. We do have our Gemini today, as I film this, Uranus moving into Gemini. So that's going to be 8 years of slow and maybe shocking change. So this little slow moving brook will be perfect for our spells. Now here I feel is our most active area. This I call my fairy tree. It's got a little hole inside. And what really is sad is that this year we've had a really tough winter. And unfortunately, the tree cracked halfway. But the energy lives on inside. So it's another place that we can leave an offering. Now, I just want to show you why I think this tree is so active. Because right down here, now we are pretty good distance in the woods. And these are trails that me and Chili pretty much made ourselves. So we're just going to come down. And I want to show you why I think this area is so magical. Now this is just behind my home. There's no trails here. We're very much off trail now. We're deep in the woods. And what did we come across? If you can see it, we'll get a little closer. There's no rhyme or reason why this should be there. There's nobody around. There's never anybody around. But this, on top of this stump is just a piece of quartz. Just sitting there reflecting the sun. And when I just want to feel at peace, when I want to feel inspired, I come out here and I sit by this. And it is very inspiring. It's very mind-opening. And you can just feel the energy in this area. And I think maybe it was placed here by the little fairies in our tree. So that's why we're going to leave them an offering, just to show them we acknowledge them and we're together. fairy gardens can be fun to create a place to entice them to visit and play, and another place to leave offerings. Mine is hidden here in an area of the yard that we seldom go, kind of hard to get to, but it is visible from the house. So you can see the sun shining through. So different things that you can leave are, cute little statues, shiny things. I left a few little pennies. I don't know if you could see them, so I put a few little pennies. So just some shiny things and, some beads and baubles to just grab their attention. And also I put out, if you're just looking to connect with nature in of itself, I put out a hummingbird feeder because it does attract the hummingbirds and the bees for pollinating the flowers, and for the sugar fairies if you are looking to connect with the fairies. Also in that suet holder, I have a bunch of fur from the cats, the dog, that I pick up and put out for the birds to line their nests. So if you aren't looking to connect with the fairies, but you're looking for a connection with just the earth and the creatures on the earth itself, that is a great way to do it. So so we talked about the natural vessels. Here is an acorn shell, and I put some cream right in that, and they will enjoy that. And it won't harm anything or leave any trash around, and it's all natural. And another vessel that you can use is an acorn shell. So we'll put that there, and we'll give it a little fill. Ooh. Well, that's quite an offering, but I think they'll enjoy it. Now, another way to connect with the Fae is with fire. Fire can be that gateway to invite them to join as you're dancing and singing around the fire. It will make them want to join in as well. And it's a fun way to really just interact with these benevolent spirits, those positive spirits. But the fire also protects and wards off the malefic spirits. So brownies, or the house fairies, can be helpful. So leaving them offerings on your hearth, if you have one, can show respect and acknowledgement for any help that they do, as it does for the tree spirits. It's just kind of showing that acknowledgement that they're there and wanting to connect. Just offerings of, say, cream, honey, bannocks, again. No gifts, no clothing, that kind of thing. It's just an offering of mutual respect. You don't want to disrespect them by making them think they need to have a gift. It's more of just like a thankful offering. So if you're in the house and maybe you feel like that there's signs that something or someone is trying to connect, things are misplaced, maybe things are cleaned up and you don't remember how that happens. Like, maybe the dishes in the sink are cleaned, and on the other side when you get up in the morning and you're like, I swore I left those in the sink last night. So these offerings that you give may develop an affinity between you and them, and perhaps even things that you've lost or that have gone mysteriously missing long ago will turn back up in the most unexpected of places, or even the most obvious of places. Be like, wow, where did this come from? I haven't seen this in forever. But before you attempt to connect, again, just like with the outside, you want to be sure to do your research. Protect yourself and your home from any malevolent spirits. If you hang bark of a birch tree or hazel tree, hang it over the doorways. Also things made of iron, maybe horseshoes, crosses, that type of thing, or even black salt. Black salt is very powerful, so you want to use that with care. And if you're not sure how to use it, I would probably just go with everything else in order just to protect yourself and to protect your home from any malevolent. So here's some ideas if you're thinking of setting up an altar, or even if you're just looking to decorate a little bit for the season. So here's what I like to use. So first, what I like to do is you always want to start with a clean slate. So you want to clean everything off that you had from Ostara, and then we want to start fresh. So we want to sage and get rid of all that old energy that was there. So as with any altar setup, I always have all the elements. I have wands for fire. I have a sword for air. I have our stone here, and that is for earth. And then we have our little cauldron here for water. So to bring a little bit of fire in, you're going to want to bring in some candles. So the colors that I'm going to be using are here. We have red, and that's for that fiery passion. We have green, and that is for new life and new beginning and growth. We have yellow, of course, for the sun above, and we have white for purity and for new life, and of course orange, and that is for a successful harvest. Now you see I also have kind of woven in is some birch bark, and I use that just to keep everything a little bit protected. Again, because if we do any connections with the Fae, you want to keep some protections there, especially when doing spells as well. So next, because this is happening during our full moon in Scorpio, I'm going to have a sunstone and a moonstone to represent the sun and the moon. And then I want to bring in some other stones. Now you can bring in as much stones as you like or as little stones as you like, but the ones I like to use are for fiery passion and sexuality. We have our red jasper here. And then to put a little bit of love with it, because it's not all about sex, it's about love too. So we have our rose quartz, of course, representing the sun. As we have a little bit of carnelian, and then turquoise for that kind of open-mindedness. Then we have, any red stones that really speak to you. This one is called a dragon agate, and it has red and green. So I thought that was perfect for this time of year. And then we also are going to bring in the moss agate, and that is for growth and agriculture. So next, what you want to do is if you are having, your spells, you want to have incense burning. If you like to burn incense, use really earthy, musky smells. This one is my favorite. It's cedar. It just smells so good. So if anything that just kind of speaks to you and stands out to you, any kind of musk. So what else I'm going to incorporate? So as I said, I like to have all the elements present. So for water, remember that water that we got? So here it is. What I'm going to do is on the night before, during that full moon, I'm going to leave that water outside, and I'm going to let it just really just get that energy of the full moon, and that way we can use that for our spells. It's going to be that much more intense because it's going to have that full moon energy in there as well. Also, you want to incorporate, for the full flower moon and the flowers blooming of the season. I have this jar here. You can have, ones that are freshly picked. You can have ones that are potted. My daughter-in-law and my granddaughter went out and picked for me. So it's got lots of the colors of the season. We have some purples, some blues, some bluebells, some dandelions in there, just those sunny, beautiful flowers, and you can incorporate those with your spells as well in your simmer pots, whatever you're looking to do with them. So this is just a couple little ideas here of how I'm going to set up my altar, but you can feel free to add, subtract, whatever you like. I know I have a lot going on here, but that's kind of how I roll. I'm very ADD, so I always have so much happening. So what you want to do on pre-dawn of May 1st, you want to go outside and take your shoes and socks off, barefoot, and walk barefoot in the dewy grass. If possible, do this underneath a strong oak tree and just gather up the dew in your hands as well and just wash your face with it. This for the next year will enhance your beauty and your youth all year round. So we're going to end this video with a few words from our May Queen, crowned this year for the second year in a row, and it is our sweet Penelope. So I hope you all have a blessed and bountiful Beltane, and I'll see you soon.
Happy birthday.